Hello. Welcome back to a new video. Today we got a packed update to go over. I just want to say thank you guys for over 250k visits. I really appreciate all of you guys playing my game and supporting me throughout everything. Without further ado, let's get into the updates. So, to start off, I added Team Builders, Whitelist, and Blacklist. Team Builders and Whitelisting is already in the official game, but Blacklisting is something new, banning somebody. I added a new configuration to the configuration menu, which is UI configs. Basically, to make the UI more welcoming, you can adjust certain features of it using this menu. As of now, there's only one setting, which is switching, confirm, and cancel in the pop-up menu. I realized when making this game that I accidentally switched these two. In the official game, they are switched by default, so I figured if you guys are used to the official Piggy build mode order, this would be a good setting for you. And yes, these settings save. And for our first real concept, a resizable asset menu. By simply dragging the little dot at the top, you can resize your asset menu to make it easier to navigate the assets. You can also turn on the Distinguish Concepts feature to make this menu distinguish concepts from official assets. This way, if you're playing my game to simply test out and see the concepts I made, it makes it easier to choose. The official assets are red, the concepts are green, and the official assets that I added concept settings to are yellow. Now, let's start with our first asset concept, the flashlight item. This works exactly how you would expect it to. When clicked, it will toggle the light. This item was suggested by Binby8768, TJ Marshall 9, Frogosaurs, Domphonic 2012, and Starful. Some of these commenters suggested extra features and settings, so maybe I will add those in the future because I think we could do more with this flashlight item. But anyways, next up we have probably my favorite concept out of this update, the Animate Gate. This is similar to the Move block but much better because it has extra features. This was suggested by DOBY, Luther8486, and Pixelmaster. For the normal Move setting, simply link the Animate Gate to most assets in the game, blocks, events, decorations, etc., and also make sure to link it to a Move reference. Also, another feature I added in this update that I forgot to mention is that the Grid Snap and Rotate Snap now save. But anyways, once we link the gate to both the block and the Move reference, the block will move to the reference's position. You actually can link the gate to multiple blocks, but just note that they will all move to the reference. A mistake I made here was not making sure the block's orientation matched the references. If you're going for a twist effect, then don't worry about it, but if you want it to just be a smooth position readjustment, you must make sure the rotations match. Of course, just like the Move block, you can set the speed, easing style, easing direction, repeat count, whether it reverses, and whether it pauses or stops when deactivated. But a new feature is the Scale to Reference setting. When enabled, the block will not only move to the reference's position, but also resize to the reference's size. This feature is only available on the Animate Gate, not the Move block. And of course, this doesn't only work with the block, it also works with other assets, like the ball. That's it for the Move setting, but this gate actually has another setting, the Spin setting. This allows you to smoothly rotate a block in-game. You still do need a Move reference for this, but it just won't work the same way. With this setting, the Move reference will be the center of rotation for the parts. The two settings for the Spin mode are the speed and power. You might think that those two terms are interchangeable, but they actually aren't, and I'll show you how in a little bit. As you can see, the parts start spinning about the Move reference. The spinning part can actually carry the player, so this would be cool to use for like an obby stage or something. Now, let's set the power much lower and see what happens. Let's also increase the speed though. As you can see, the spinning part actually does take more time to accelerate to its desired speed. But this is not the only thing. If the power is low, this part can be overpowered by the players. That's it for the Animate Gate. You can play with the Move reference if you want to fully understand how the center of rotation works. And one tip I have for you is that if it's moving clockwise and you want it to move counterclockwise, or vice versa, simply rotate the reference by 180 degrees so the front is facing the back and the back is facing the front. Now, on to our next concept, the stud block. I don't think I have a screenshot, but I remember my friend Craziness and I were talking and he suggested this concept, so shout out to him. This basically allows you to set a block's texture to 4 of the Roblox Studio Legacy textures. When painting this block, the material is disregarded but the color still is. Now, on to our next concept, we have the seat trigger. This is like the seat block we already have in the events category, but it sends a signal when a player sits on it. Along with this, I'm also thinking of making an is sitting value in the if gate. I'm just going to make a system where if you're sitting on the trigger you temporarily become slightly invisible. Perfect. That concept's pretty simple, so let's move on to the next one, the setting block. This concept is technically already in the official game, it's pretty much just the game lighting block and round timer block combined into one. This concept was suggested by cam_pbm and user next1us. The only thing you really need to know about this is that if the use round timer setting isn't on in the game settings, then this block will turn it on if the timer configure type setting is set to anything but none. Now, onto a cool block, we have the mod block. This basically just enables any of the modifiers that are in the official Piggy game. This was suggested by JPancake in my Discord server, which if you're not in, would recommend you join in. We're going to start off with point race mode. Enabling this will turn on the point race mode. You can gain points by activating any official events, which I will demonstrate in a bit. I might make a point block in the future to set, increment, or reduce points by doing some sort of action. Basically, all of these events give you 1 point upon activating. The only exception is the wire electrical box, which gives you 1 point per wire or 2 points if you put the last remaining wire in. There is also another event that gives you points that I will show you later in the video. I also forgot to mention that if the game ends while point race mode is activated, the info message will announce the winner and their points instead of game over. Next up is the timer speed setting. This is exactly how you expect it to be, the round timer goes this much faster when activated. Now, my favorite setting from this block is the spider spawn. This spawns the spider traps from the Spider Mayhem mod. Allow me to demonstrate. One setting that might be confusing is the spiders register as infected setting. This basically allows the spider traps to activate infected only links. Let me explain. But before that, if you want the spiders to only spawn once and not every time the block is activated, simply connect the signal to a sustained gate and that gate to the block. Now, let me explain the setting. With this setting turned off, if we link an advanced touch trigger with infected only to a damage block and the spiders go through it, nothing will happen. However, if this setting is turned on, the spiders will die. Now, let's actually turn the setting on and see what happens. Oops. Only one spider died because we forgot to turn off the forever setting on the touch trigger. Let's fix that really quick. And as you saw, all the spiders died when they went through the touch trigger. Now, let's move to our final settings on this block, Dizzy Cam and Inverted Controls. These two settings are the only ones that can be run only for the players who activated it if the everyone setting isn't on. Let's move on to our next concept, the ship code. These are two assets, the ship code pad and the ship code panels. This idea was suggested by Mr. Kai 568, Pony 7270, Lockdown Gold, Tricky Phase 37, and Billy Zuby. The pad itself is a linkable signal. To demonstrate, I'm going to link it to a player config block that turns your character slightly transparent. To go along with this pad, you must place 4 ship code panels. These will tell you the colors as well as their order in the sequence. Perfect. Once we typed in the code, my character turns slightly invisible. Of course, like in the game, you don't have to get it first try and the code is randomly generated each time. Our next concept is a Billboard UI. This has been suggested by Nova Star 01. Setting up the actual UI is exactly how you would set up the UI screen block. If you don't remember how to do that, I would recommend watching the video that shows up in the top right corner. You can set up your UI wherever you want, because the billboard will not show up where that is. Instead, there is a new Adornee block for that. Simply link the UI billboard block to the Adornee block to indicate where to show the billboard. If there is no Adornee, the billboard will not work. The Adornee is scalable on its X and Y axis. This will be how big the billboard will appear. On the actual UI billboard block, you can set if it's always on top as well as the maximum distance the billboard can be viewed at. If it's always on top, it will be visible through walls and other objects. Also, you can make the billboard tween bigger or just generally move by using an Animate Gate. This can allow for some like follow the billboard type minigame or something. Another notable feature, that doesn't only apply to UI billboards but also regular UI screens, is that you can now tween elements using the Animate Gate. Anyways, that's really all I wanted to show you for the UI section. Also, I have some future ideas that I want to let you guys know about for the UI. I'm thinking of adding a video element, viewport element, and UI surface. The UI surface and viewport element will utilize the Adornee. But anyways, we have 3 new NPCs designed and animated by Humod that I want to show you guys because they're all pretty cool. The first one is a redesign of Felix. I have no idea why my laptop is so glitchy and laggy in this section of the recording, so I'm sorry about that and hopefully it's not that way for you guys. But anyways, the next one is a redesign of Piggy, that's right, the scrapped secondary bot in Book 2 Chapter 12. This one actually has a cool feature to it. Every time Peyton kills a player, potion splatters appear on his outfit. This only happens the first 3 times he kills a player though. After that, he just remains with the current splatters. Our last NPC from this update is an insolence redesign of Mrs. P. This NPC does not have the rushing ability by default, but you could probably make it so that she does by using the player config block. I know that technically the molding doesn't work like it does in Real Piggy, but it's fine, in Real Piggy, she molds after a certain amount of time, but in this game, she molds for the first 2 times after killing a player. I also added an info button. With this, if you're confused about how my concepts work, this will give you a better understanding. Shout out to Toby Oblivious for helping me type out a lot of these. The last 2 concepts I want to show you guys are on a separate recording, so don't mind this quick little transition. First off, I deprecated the toggle gate. It still works if you already have it in any of your maps, it's just that you can't select it in the asset menu anymore. I made it a setting for the modify gate. This was a suggestion by Morrisplug. Also, this is unrelated, but I fixed a few really bad bugs like the player config block twitching the player, only 1 touch trigger working per map, and the build spawn loading 1000 blocks higher than it should have been. I also fixed a hitbox issue with decorations. The final concept is something that a lot of you have been asking for a while now, the clone tool. If you have the move tool equipped, you can either click the button at the bottom left or press Ctrl+D. This is still a beta feature, so it may clone the wrong part. The texture and settings carry on to the cloned part, but the links do not yet. Once I get the multi-select feature working, this will be much more refined. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope you enjoy this update, and if you do, I would highly appreciate if you left a like on my game as well as on this video, maybe subscribe too. Eyes. If you guys have any more concepts, please make sure to comment them below and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.